This is day 8 of our 12-day program. This is January 13th, 2022. Apologize for you guys who were looking to tune in this morning. I was not able to hop on. I was busy with trading and a few other things I had to do this morning. So either case, we proceed with the day. So what I'd like to talk to you guys about is continuing with the exercise that we were doing from yesterday, which is how do you then take negative experiences that you might be storing in your database, in your mind, and how do you reframe it? How do you transform it in a way that is beneficial for you to take on life from here on out? So without much ado, let's jump in. Actually, I'm going to also at the end of this session, I'm going to talk about the trade that I took yesterday and the setups that I'm looking for this afternoon before the end of the closing day in the afternoon session. So let's dive in, guys. So as we start all the time, take 3 deep breaths in and out and get ourselves grounded. With each breath out, release any stress, any tension that you may be holding in your body. With each breath in, just fill up your body with positive energy. Awesome. So again, like I said, continuing with the exercise from yesterday, if you haven't checked it out, please, I would recommend that you guys watch that video. So reframing negative experiences can be very transformative, right? Because we are currently not making the most of them, and we are not the most resourceful when potentially similar situations might arise in our future because we haven't reframed them, we haven't looked at them in a way in which we can understand how we could have been more resourceful, in what specific tactical way we could have been better. So that's the purpose of this exercise. And this is something that we focus on quite a bit in the 12-week program, because if we really understand this process and how we are creating these kind of experiences on a moment-to-moment basis, we can literally take a couple minutes. If we are feeling off, we're feeling unaligned, we're just not feeling ourselves, then we just take a couple minutes, close our eyes, do this exercise that we're going to be doing over the next few days that we're starting off today. And you're going to be able to really see how your experiences can shift within a few minutes. And I'm talking about internal experiences. I'm not talking about your world, externally is going to change. But when your experience of the situation changes, the external world does not matter where it is. It's going to move in that direction, because then you're prepared to face the situation head on in a way that's going to be of most benefit to you. So let's go ahead and dive in and do an exercise so that you guys understand what I mean by this. So yesterday we picked a quality that was of importance to you, that you valued, and that you believed that you were, like with full congruency. Like I asked you, let's say, for example, hey, are you kind? And you're like, yeah, I'm kind. Like there's no second guessing. Just like if I asked you your name and you're like, yeah, that's my name. There's no second guessing, yeah? So that level of congruency, hopefully you picked a quality that you were working on yesterday. Today, we're going to be focusing on a quality that you might not exhibit, but that you still value. So this could be something like, for me, this is what I worked on last year, at the end of last year, was patience. Something I valued, but I realized in all contexts I was not patient, especially my trading. Yeah. So pick a quality, and that's what actually I'll be talking about today. The example that I'll give, my personal example. So pick a quality, and then ask yourself now, it might be easier to close your eyes and ask yourself this: how do I know I am this quality? We're asking ourselves the same question again. How do I know I'm that quality? And what will happen if you're picking a quality that you're ambiguous about, or that maybe even you know many times that you're not being versus you are being, then the examples that might arise are most likely going to be favoring the negative side, currently negative side. So again, ask yourself, how do I know I am that quality? And see what comes up for you. What comes to mind when you ask yourself that question about this quality? Most likely, it might be at least one example of when you were not able to display that quality. But it could be something else too. It could be a metaphor. It could be a sound. It could be a body sensation. So think of what comes up for you, that example, and see if you are in that point of view. And in NLP, again, we talk about this in terms of association and dissociation. So basically, are you associated into your body when you think of this example? Like, are you in that example, like as if you're there right now? Or are you watching yourself in a movie having this experience? So see how that comes up for you. And I talked about this yesterday, but shift your focus from the content of the example to the structure of the example. How was it for you? Not necessarily, okay, this one time I was not patient because of, blah, 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 whatever it is. Or this other time, this happened, and so, I wasn't patient here. Yeah, fine, cool. Now that you have those examples, now focus on how those examples are being represented for you and how they were organized in the first place in your mind. And again, observe where that example is happening. If you were associated, see if you can dissociate from yourself and see how that is appearing for you. And then, do you see many examples? Do you see maybe a few examples, or do you just have one and then you have to shift your focus to the next one, and then you have to shift your focus to another example? Or are you able to see a couple of them together at the same time, or maybe even more? And see how that differs from how the examples were represented for you yesterday. Or maybe even today, you're noticing, okay, there's one time I did actually show patience. And so, okay, it's kind of over here. I'm noticing that it's a little bit different. Okay, I don't maybe hear as much sound from that one as from the negative examples. Or I don't see as much clarity in this one versus that one. Whatever it is, compare how the examples from yesterday that you elicited differ from the ones from today, or even ones that are positive examples when you ask yourself that question come up. And maybe I'll share with you guys the example that I was talking about where I wanted to work on my patience while trading. So when I ask myself, how do I know I'm patient? In specifically the context of trading, I had two examples come up. I had two sets of examples come up. I had this side. On my right side, this is where I store my positive examples naturally. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but for me, that's how it came up. My examples were arranged on the right side, and then my negative examples were arranged on my left side. And then I was just observing them, and I saw that I had many more counter examples, many more negative examples that I was storing on this side versus this side. This side also seemed more vivid. I was remembering my negative examples, with much more clarity than my positive examples. And so they were standing out to me more. That means I was seeing myself as an impatient trader, clearly, because naturally my mind was favoring these over my positive examples. And then I continued with the process of how do I shift these into what did I have to learn from those examples, from those negative examples that I have not yet done, so that I can be more resourceful whenever situations arise in which my patience will again be tested. There's a belief, I guess, in the spiritual community that whatever happens for you is for the best, And if you keep repeating the same, let's say, test or challenge, that means you have not yet learned that lesson. Yeah. And you're going to keep repeating that. You're going to, you're going to keep seeing the same kind of person if you're trying to date. You're going to keep, running into the same kind of boss at work until you learn the lesson that you're supposed to learn so that you can overcome it. Yeah. So the same way that can be applied to here, we keep continuing to store these negative examples. And if we're able to shift them and see, okay, what was our higher intention? And this actually leads me into my homework for you guys that that would be very useful for you guys to think about until we start day 9 next week, is understanding what the positive intention, what the positive higher intention was in that specific example. And then when you understand that, then you can start to reframe it and say, that's what I was trying to do. In NLP, we say behind every behavior is a positive intention. Yeah. So whatever you are trying to do, you are trying to fulfill another value of yourself, another value that you would like to embody, right? You are trying to fulfill another value which you were unconscious at that time that you are trying to fulfill. And so because you only see the negative side of what you are trying to do, you frame that as a negative example. So now when you shift that to say, okay, I was trying to get to peace, for example, for me, patience was, I was really ultimately trying to be at peace with the trade that I was trying to take. But instead I was impatient with, it was running against me. I need to do something about it, right? I was creating agitation in my system, in my thoughts. And I wanted peace. I was like, I just wanted peace. And I thought doing what I did, which is to, see all sides of the situation, was actually creating agitation, and that was creating impatience because I was not getting what I wanted. So when I reframed that and said, okay, I really just wanted peace in that moment, then I could see, okay, what did I really need? What resources would I have needed for me to have fulfilled my higher intention? So we're going to explore that, like I said, in detail next week, and we're going to close it all out and have something that you guys can take away with if you were following my 12-day process here. And I really hope it's going to be of use. It's going to have a slight shift, at least, in the way that you approach your day-to-day. So that's it for today. For this part, I'm going to switch over to my trading screen here. And the trade that I took yesterday was a short. And let me see if I can back up and show you guys that. It was a short trade that I took in the morning, and that was a solid trade. I ended up making around $1,000 on that one, but I ended up closing the day with a few losses and closed the day with a $500 profit. So still not a bad day, pretty decent day. I just wanted to show you guys that. So yeah, yesterday, oops, this is still today. Let me go back to yesterday. There we go. There are my markings on the chart. There we go. So the trade that I took yesterday was, I was waiting for price to confirm to go short, and I had placed the initial. Yep, this is what I did. So yep, this is how I entered. So I was waiting for price. So here what happened was, I'll back up here. So price was looking to go long. Price was on a uptrend since Tuesday morning, I believe, Monday morning, sorry. And price was continuing on this uptrend. And if you guys can see here, it went from that 0% level right below VWAP. And I trade with VWAP in mind quite a bit. And traded up towards the 100% level, retraced toward the 61.8% level, tried to get up to the 127% extension, and did not. It tried twice, and it created a lower low. And at that point, I realized there was enough of selling pressure here for me to go short. But again, I couldn't just jump in here because I could be wrong, and I wanted to manage my risk. And the trade, the type of trade that I like to take is being very precise with my entries and having short or tight stop losses. So I was looking for a retracement for me to go short, and it's exactly what happened here. Price went from the swing high to the 100% level, retraced to the 38.2% level. So I took that short all the way down. So it's about 10, 15 pips that I made on average. I entered 3 contracts, and each one has a different target. So that's what I took. I could have held longer, but my trailing stop loss stopped me out when it retraced on my 3rd target. So I had a few other trades that I took, but by the end of the day, price was just trading in a range. And so I decided to not trade anymore into the afternoon. Now moving to today. So moving to today, here's what I took, or here's what I have placed so far. No entry on this yet. I'm going to move to the other chart so that you guys can see what I am talking about. So on this, which is a higher time frame chart, it's actually a higher volume chart, but you can look at it as a higher time frame chart. So from today, we had the high at 47.36, and then since then it's been on a downtrend since this morning. And again, looking at VWAP here, I was looking at when price showed strength through the VWAP area, and that's where I placed the 0% level, and then the 100% level would be way down here. And then I was looking to enter on a retrace to the 61.8 or the 38.2% levels. For the 61.8% level, I was not very confident about that, because when I looked at the counter trend fib extensions and retracements, I saw the overlay was much better with the 38.2% retracement, and plus also there was more volume that was up here. Since this was a steep drop, I figured there were more sellers up here in the 38.2% level. So I'm being more patient here, allowing this price to come back up into the levels that I'm looking for. Here's where my entry is, 47.0325, and taking that short all the way down to 46.64. So again, may or may not happen today. And that's, like I said, that's why I keep my shorts tight. I keep my first target here for break even, my second target here, the 127, and the third target is a trailing stop loss. So that's what I'm looking at on the ES today for this afternoon session. And then the other instrument that I'm looking at is gold. Crude oil is kind of in a range. So at least for today, I'm not going to be taking any trades on crude oil. But for gold, very clean move, going from 0% to the 100% level over the course of the last week, retraced so very close to the 61.8% level, bounced off. So potentially we are looking at the price going up to 1839, 1840. But I am going to be looking at an entry where it crosses over VWAP and shows some strength through that price level. And that may or may not happen today. So I'll be looking out for a trade to go long on gold to close out the week tomorrow. Again, may or may not happen by tomorrow, but that is what my bias is. So that's it for today. Hope that was useful. And if you guys have any questions on any of the stuff that I'm talking about, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions and make this a productive time for you guys to tune in. All right, guys, I hope you guys have an outstanding close to the week and an outstanding weekend ahead. We'll see you guys on Monday. Take care. Cheers.